Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Good day, tokers and tokettes and non-toking lovers of liberty. It's 4:02 in the Pacific Time Zone, the day after Marijuana Election Night 2014, where we crushed it, folks. We knocked it out of the park. We exceeded my expectations. Now, my prediction on Oregon was dead on. At least it was last night. I had predicted a 54% victory. Oregon now coming in 55.74 at the latest vote count, 55.74, the greatest margin of victory of any marijuana legalization ballot in the United States ever. That's right. We beat Washington State. We're ahead of Washington State by 0.04%. Just 0.04%. And then again, this is 91.9% of the votes counted. This could change. We might fall behind Washington State. But I so badly want to beat Washington State. And I got someone in my Twitter feed that said, well, it's not beating another state, Russ. It's all victory. It's all good. And yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, I'm happy we all passed. I'd be happy if Oregon passed with 50.01%, right? As long as we passed. I'm cool with it, right? But there's something to be said, and there's something very significant about the fact that you got two states, Oregon and Washington, that are somewhat similar, politically speaking. Here in the Pacific Northwest, everything from the Cascade Mountain Range west to the coast is generally well populated and generally very liberal. And then on the east side of the Cascades, you get into the farmland and the rural sections, and a little less population tends to be very conservative. In fact, we have a movement up here in Portland, kind of a faux secessionist movement. It's not just in Portland. It's in Oregon and Washington, some in Northern California, and some of southern British Columbia as well. A faux secessionist movement called Cascadia. We actually have a flag. It's a blue, white, and green flag with a Douglas fir in the middle of it. The Cascadian flag. The Sasquatch is our national animal, I believe. But this is all true. Go to Wikipedia. You'll look this up. Cascadia, right? But there's something to be said, the fact that we're very similar, politically speaking, in Washington and Oregon. Now, Washington's got more people. Washington's got more people for sure, right? And a little more urban when you're talking Seattle. And you got an eastern, Spokane state, the city that's fairly big. And the Tri-Cities in Washington, Yakima, there are some differences. But generally speaking, politically, we're very alike. And we get to compare and contrast these two elections. And I think Oregon coming in a virtual tie or beating Washington State is huge news. Because we get to look at Washington State where it was now there is one confounder in this comparison. And that is Oregon gets to go second and gets the benefit of having Washington and Colorado and its results and being able to bank on that, and that the sky didn't fall. That's huge. That's going to raise your percentage, I would say. But it's a midterm election, and midterm elections tend to have worse turnout for legalization, and that lowers your expectations. So maybe those cancel each other out. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, just kind of discussing it. So as you look and compare, you can say, all right, Washington State. In Washington State, you got 55% of the vote. But to get that, you had to have law enforcement support. You had to have high-profile supporters. And to get that high-profile support, a lot of those guys wouldn't give it unless there was a per se DUID bill or statute, law, limit. That is, 5 nanograms of THC in your blood and you're automatically a stone driver and you're automatically busted. No scientific basis to this whatsoever. But it was a political calculation. It was like, hey, stone driving is something that scares people. We got to do something to address that or else we won't win. Oregon, we didn't put any per se DUID in our bill. And we got the same result in a midterm election. So I'm hoping that alone will show reformers throughout the nation and the national organizations that bankroll them that there's no need to include a per se DUID limit, that it's scientific and unreliable. What we did include in Oregon was that we'll let the OLCC study this issue and make scientific recommendations to the legislature. Alaska didn't even go that far. Didn't do as well, got 52%, but still, legalization did not include any DUID stuff in any of the 3 states where it passed. And Washington didn't include home grow, figuring that would undercut the market, so forth. Oregon included home grow, and we got that same 55%. So I hope now, and our low taxation, we didn't have to bribe people. We didn't have to bribe a lot of people with the 25% taxation that Washington State did, where you're now getting, $30 a gram prices. In Oregon, we were able to sell the idea. Now, there is a political difference here that we have to underscore in the Pacific Northwest. Washington State's got taxes, got pretty high sales taxes, nationally speaking. Oregon has no sales tax. We're one of the states that doesn't have a sales tax. So there is already a phenomenon of people on the southern Washington border crossing into Oregon to make their large purchases, TVs, and cars and such. So they don't have to pay sales tax. We've already got that phenomenon going on. Oregonians, by and large, are very reluctant to tax anything. Very reluctant to tax anything. And our consultants told us, if we put anything that even smells like a sales tax in this thing, it'll kill it. But there were others that were saying, hey, look, we got to get these taxes in here. We got to get some taxes in here to kind of buy the support that we need from the cities and the counties. And in fact, we saw that play out in the latter days of the campaign here as 25 cities across Oregon have passed their own sales taxes on marijuana purchases, anticipating that Measure 91 would pass. Now, I doubt those measures will stand because Measure 91 grants sole taxing authority to the state and invalidates all city and county ordinances that are inconsistent with it. Their contention, the city's contentions from their lawyers, is that a initiative cannot reach back into time and invalidate previous laws. We shall see how that plays out in the courts. But there is a way for us to pass legalization in Oregon without this extremely high taxation, without this beginning assumption that legalization needed to keep the price of weed high. That was an operating assumption in Washington State with Mark Kleiman from UCLA, the public policy professor, and his company Botech that was consulting Washington State before and after. I think there was before and after. I know it was definitely after it passed. The whole idea was, well, we got to keep the price just high enough that it will discourage people from using marijuana, but not so high that there'll be a black market. And they failed miserably because they're ending up with $30 an ounce weed, or $30, that would be nice, $30 a gram weed, and literally having to chase weed dealers out of their parking lots who are undercutting the store price. Exactly what you don't want to have happen under a legalization. You don't want to have dealers hanging out at the legal pot shop. So we were able to pass it with low taxes, like purposefully low taxes, like we were putting out in the press that, yes, we're keeping the taxes low so the price will be low so that we can undercut the black market. And people accepted that at the same rate as past Washington I-502 with their exorbitantly high taxes. So what I think has happened here with Oregon's victory is bigger than just getting the most rate of support, 55.74% last time I checked. It's bigger than that. It passed in a midterm election. It's bigger than that because it set this precedent, even in the face of an overwhelming Republican victory on a nationwide scale, that smart marijuana reforms don't have to include and should not include a per se DUID statute, that they should recognize the right of home grow, and that they should strive for low taxation, reasonable tax rates to keep the prices low. In Vancouver, Washington, we have the 2 best-selling pot shops in Washington state. Vancouver, Washington. Now, it's not a big city, Vancouver, Washington. You'd think Seattle, Washington. My God, Seattle International Airport. Are all the tourists coming in and the millions of people that live there? No. Now, to be fair, they've only got a couple of pot shops and they're frequently out of weed. Spokane on the eastern side, a big city? Nope. Number 1 and number 2 are New Amsterdam and Main Street marijuana in Vancouver, Washington. And I'll tell you, folks, it ain't Washingtonians necessarily buying all that weed. It's Oregonians crossing the river and buying that weed at $30 a gram. So in 2016, as pot shops start rolling out here in Oregon, that $35 an ounce tax happens at the grower level, a one-time $35 an ounce tax. That's $560 a pound, if you do the math on that. So a $1,000 pound in Oregon, and I know a lot of people going, what? $1,000 pound? Yeah, out here we can get it $1,000 pound. Comes in at $1,560. So that price gets passed on, of course, to the consumer at some point. And if you work it out, the price tacked on to the consumer works out to $1.25 a gram. Now, the quasi-free market price of marijuana right now in Oregon ranges from $7 to $10 a gram. I anticipate people will be just fine with $8 to $12 a gram. And it'll get lower from there because the projection from the Legislative Review Office, when they anticipate, hey, these people will be growing licensed, they can grow to scale, they can have mass production, they anticipate the cost, post-tax cost, of an ounce of decent weed in Oregon is going to be $145 an ounce. $145 an ounce. You divide that into grams, 475. $5 a gram. Let's round it up to $6. $6 a gram weed, people, coming to an Oregon pot shop near you in 2016.
Five of the last 9 major party candidates to run for president, 3 of the last 9 vice presidential candidates, and the last 3 two-term presidents have all smoked pot. Marijuana, the gateway drug to the White House. This is the Russ Belville Show. You can get 420 Radio on the go with the TuneIn Radio app for all mobile platforms. Go to rad-r.us/420tunein or just click the TuneIn Radio icon below the live radio feed on 420radio.org.
Hey, this is Willie Nelson for Normal. And I smoke pot and I like it a lot. I learned a long time ago that marijuana is a lot safer than alcohol. There's nothing wrong with the responsible use of marijuana by adults. It's time we stopped arresting and started respecting those who smoke marijuana responsibly. To learn what you can do to help, contact NORML at NORML.org or call toll-free 888-67-NORMAL.
Professionals Against Prohibition with Jen Jackson from Raleigh, North Carolina. Replaying Thursdays at 10 Pacific on 420radio.org. 420radio.org presents the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour with Herb Thrasher and Radical Russ from Portland, Oregon. Herb Thrasher Flower Hour is 2 hours of unrestrained rock, metal, punk, and alt country music, interviews, concert bootlegs, and sports with America's hardest rocking marijuana activist stoner, Herb Thrasher. Live 2 hours Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific, with replays at 8 and 5 on Fridays and replays Saturday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 420radio.org.
Welcome back, everybody. 15 after the hour, almost 16. And I want to thank all the new listeners and viewers who are checking us out here on 420radio.org. Remember, we're here every weekday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, with replays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. 2 hours of live daily talk radio concerning marijuana legalization, decriminalization, medicalization, industrial hemp, defelonization, study, research, culture, history, health, politics. If it has to do with marijuana, we're talking about it here on the Russ Belville Show. Also, we got a 24-hour lineup here, so you can tune in 420 Radio anytime, and we've got replays from all sorts of podcast and YouTube partners from around the country. We'll be adding some new shows from Kansas City, Missouri, and Michigan, and all sorts of places to join our already 25-show lineup that we're replaying here on 420radio.org. And it's all free, ladies and gentlemen. It's free. You can get it on Ustream. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it on iTunes. You can get it on Stitcher. You can get it through the TuneIn Radio app for your cell phone. Take us on the road with you on the go with TuneIn Radio and search for 420 Radio within TuneIn. Having a lot of fun doing this, and we thank all of our supporters who give their money because they can afford it, so that all the folks that can't afford it can get this free public information on marijuana legalization. If you can afford it and you can help support us here at 420 Radio, we'd really, really appreciate it. Just visit 420radio.org and look at the donate menu item at the top. You can donate at all sorts of levels, starting at our copper level, just $4.20 a month. It comes out of your PayPal automatically. You won't even notice it's gone, but we really notice all that help that we get. 420, man, that helps us out with buying stamps for the things we mail out, helps us with everything that we do here, buying ink for the printer, helping pay for the bandwidth, rent on the studio. There's so many little expenses, and every dime that you donate helps out for that. And the levels increase. If you can donate more, you get all sorts of benefits like 10% off or more in our 420 Radio shop and other sorts of swag and bonuses. Check out 420radio.org/donate for more information. Give if you can. And if you don't like the monthly option, I can understand that. Maybe you just want to try before you buy. You can make a one-time donation to 420radio.org. Remember, if you're a VIP member, you get special access to this hour too. Folks that aren't members can't get hour two through our website in the archives. So if you like this hour two stuff but want to hear it at a later time, you're going to have to become a VIP member. All right, enough selling. Let's get to the drug war data mine and run down some of the election results we have here. Unfortunately, I've got just 1 minute and 20 seconds to do that. Can't be done. Anyway, in Alaska, we've got passage of legalization. In California, those are the different ballot initiatives for taxes, grow restrictions, dispensary bans, medical grows, limiting dispensaries, grow restrictions, and so forth. Red, of course, is a loss. Green is a win. California's Prop 47, though, passed with 58.16% of the vote, defelonizing possession. In Colorado, we had marijuana taxes. Those are all the green measures. You can see green text. We had bans on pot shops and manufacturing and so forth. Those are the red text. And as you can see, the votes didn't go our way in most of these Colorado races. Just 3 of them turning out positive for us. Then as we get to the Florida election, of course, we got 57.57, but that's not a win because we needed 60. Guam passed with 56.42. In Maine, we split. Lewiston did not support legalization, but South Portland did. In Massachusetts, it was a 14-0 sweep on public opinion polls and policy questions on regulating marijuana. Michigan went 6-5 on their charter amendments for decriminalization. New Mexico 2-0 in decrim. Oregon passed legalization. Washington overturned its marijuana tax ag preference, and Washington, D.C. passes legalization as well.
Maybe we should start at 420, right? Marijuana reference.
Perfect timing, Homer. It is 420. I've got my Green Bay Packers pipe, and I've got me some great Oregon weed. I hope you've got something to celebrate with, and don't despair if it's not legal where you're at yet. We're bringing this wave eastward and southward, and we won't stop until this entire country is free. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back with our daily Toker tunes. Gordon Green's on the line, and we got some Ocean coming up next.
You can get 420 Radio on the go with the Ustream video app for Android and iPhone. Go to rad-r.us/420Ustream or just click the Ustream app icon for Android or iPhone below the live radio feed at 420radio.org. 420radio.org presents Gordon Green's Music Planet from Barcelona, Spain. Gordon Green has been traveling the world for more than 20 years, discovering and collecting great music along the way. His mix of eclectic sounds from around the globe prove that you don't have to understand the words to enjoy the music. Check out the show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Time with replays Wednesday at 5 and 8 Pacific on 420. Are you a hypocrite? If you live a closeted cannabis lifestyle, you are. Read about 7 people living a closeted cannabis lifestyle who are on the verge of coming out in The Hypocrites by Mara K. Eaton. Available at areyouahypocrite.net. You can purchase the book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, also available on iTunes. Check out Mara K. Eaton on Facebook as well. Learn more at areyouahypocrite.net.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Irie Wednesday, featuring reggae, ska, and other world music genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
Welcome back, everyone. 23 after the hour. Time for us to get Irie, a perfect time to celebrate and relax and bask in the glow of our election night victories. We've got Gordon Green on the line to tell us all about today's tune. Gordon, welcome back, man.
Hey, Russ. I am super happy to be back. It's a great day. A great day to make a return.
Yeah, no kidding. How was your election night last night?
My election night was bittersweet. As you know, I was in Denver the past couple of months on a work assignment and enjoying weather in the upper 70s, I might add, sunshine. And can't say I was very happy about some of the Senate races and things like that.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot to celebrate in the world of cannabis and other types of freedom due to yesterday's election.
Yeah, trying to we keep focused on the good that happened. I mean, I'm not too happy about the House and the Senate. That was not how I had hoped things would turn out, but we take the victories where we can. And maybe the fact that we did so well on marijuana in spite of the way the rest of the election worked is even another bright spot we could look at.
It sure is, man. And I'm in a unique situation because I have I wasn't born there, but Denver is my hometown. I lived there more than 20 years. And now my family is in Vancouver, Washington. So I move back and forth between both legal states. And I have to tell you that I love leaving Washington and getting back to Colorado. I've made one legal purchase in Washington. I paid $70 for 2 grams at Main Street in Vancouver. And I was flabbergasted, really. I didn't know what to expect when I went in, and I couldn't believe it. It was an emergency situation, or I would have just turned around and walked out. In Colorado, on the other hand, every month prices keep dropping, and price now at even in a more expensive shop is now below what the black market was before legalization. So we've got ways to go in Washington, but it's going to happen. And I've got to say that what's happening here and in Oregon and what happened in Colorado is changing the world. And I was in Europe for many years, and all of these countries, South America is making inroads into legalization as well. All of these people are watching exactly what happens, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. And cannabis is going to be legal around the world within a decade in most places, I honestly believe.
All right. Well, thank you, Gordon. And we got to get to the song. We're running out of time, but this is Ocean with Legalize the Herb. And stay tuned for the Music Planet, airing tonight at 5 and 8 p.m.
That's right, Russ. Peace out, man.
Peace out.
Healing of the nation, meditation and narration, legalization, inspiration, relaxation, decriminalization, no taxation, from creation, start plantation. Ayo, yes, yeah. Legalize the herb today and throw your ignorance away. 'Cause marijuana's here to stay. So Babylon we disobey. Legalize the herb today and throw your ignorance away. 'Cause marijuana's here to stay. So Babylon until we die, you know we have to disobey. I love to smoke you in my backyard when I wanna move slow, and I should be free to do so. Policeman, they want to take you, go and desecrate you. Don't they know that Jah create you? You coming straight from the nature, we should celebrate ya. Instead we incarcerate ya. I love you for my meditation, straight inspiration, never should cause incarceration. Legalize the herb today and throw your ignorance away. 'Cause marijuana's here to stay. So Babylon we disobey. Legalize the herb today and throw your ignorance away. 'Cause marijuana's here to stay. So Babylon until we die, you know we have to disobey. Alabusim you suppose you see mukim garas. Oligamani mutuna ay milong mal sabe pas. Oli like him you me di ring na put down about long ass. Tiketin no isi burkim bottle na galas. Me not care where wicked Babylon I say. Do it every single day. Freedom is the only way. Fuck a lolo is a born in human rights. Puff it out under the night. Whether brown or black or white. Legalize the herb today and throw your ignorance away. 'Cause marijuana's here to stay. So Babylon we disobey. Legalize the herb today and throw your ignorance away. 'Cause marijuana's here to stay. So Babylon until we die, you know we have to disobey. I wanna know if you realize what is the meaning of the word freedom. Oh, 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 you have a choice in this life, you know. Even if the system thinks we dumb. So, legalize, I will advertise. Let's realize with our open eyes. It is a blessing like a flower or fruit. Let's keep it growing and preserve the root. Healing of the nation, meditation and narration, legalization, inspiration, relaxation, decriminalization, no taxation, from creation, start plantation.
420 Radio is 24-hour marijuana legalization radio. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, treat law enforcement with respect and stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney." Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com. 420radio.org is proud to replay Hemp Beach TV with Blazy and Max from the Secret Hemp Beach. Blazy and Max bring you the best festivals and events from all over the country in this weekly show courtesy of Hemp Beach TV. Entertaining video and lots of fun for the 420 friendly party crowd. Catch the replays Friday at 12 Pacific on 420radio.org.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com and follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher.
I'll be down there. They wanted to turn out for you. Yeah.
Thank you, Oregon! Tonight, Oregon won a great victory. A better approach, a smarter approach to how we treat marijuana. And this campaign was such hard work, and it is decades in the making. And we won tonight, first and foremost, because of the wisdom of Oregon voters. Oregon voters read the measure, looked at the measure, decided upon it on the merits of the measure, seeing through decades upon decades of reefer madness, propaganda, misinformation, and outright lies. And we won this election tonight due to many people in this room, many people across the state, many people across the country, many people that are no longer with us. And Jim Gregg, for one, a longtime activist. Jim Clark is in a hospital right now waiting a new liver. What did you say? Jack Ware, long list of activists who, over the years, have worked hard and dedicated their lives to stop a harmful and just painful discriminatory policy that disproportionately hurts people of color and people of low income. Volunteers over the years have gathered thousands upon thousands of signatures. They've made thousands upon thousands of phone calls. They've knocked upon thousands upon thousands of doors. And the Yes on 91 campaign team worked so hard. You guys wouldn't believe how hard they worked. Best campaign team ever. Best campaign cause. My wife Sarah's put in over 15 years in this cause. There's people in this room that have put in 30, 40 years in this cause. This campaign team inspired me by their hard work and their sacrifice. Okay? And as we move forward, we're looking towards a better Oregon. You know how cool and wonderful Oregon is, an even better Oregon. An Oregon where police resources are better focused on real issues. And we have ended a painful, discriminatory, harmful policy that has terrible consequences for our state. And we replaced that policy with a policy that is just a smarter, more humane approach. And like marriage equality, other social justice issues of our time, it's a policy whose time has come. So thank you very much. And our better approach, our new policy, dare I say, our new approach, our better approach, our new policy is one with more justice, more revenue for our state, better prioritization of law enforcement resources, most importantly, more freedom and more equality. Thank you very much.
That's Anthony Johnson, the chief petitioner of Oregon's Measure 91 at last night's victory party at Holocene in southeast Portland. Herb Thrasher's behind the camera, and he milled around a bit with the folks. Lots of great activists there celebrating the historic win, as we still know from our election results with we have a new result, 92.9% of the votes counted. Oregon now at 56% support for marijuana legalization.
I really appreciate your time and everything you did. Do you feel a little bit of part in this?
Yes, I do. Well, it's been wonderful helping out the campaign, and I'm so happy this passed. We got to get this kind of stuff done nationwide, the whole country.
That's right.
We got to end the prohibition.
It's not over, is it? This is just the beginning. We're setting an example. Now it's time for us to move forward for the nation.
Exactly. The problem isn't going to be solved until we go coast to coast.
Exactly.
Every state.
Exactly. This is a huge team right here. Thanks a lot, sir.
You bet.
How you feeling right now, dude? Tell us. Go ahead. Just give us some words right now.
It's pretty surreal that we just legalized marijuana in Oregon.
Thank you to all the voters out there that made this happen. I mean, we did this, didn't we? We did this.
It's still hard for me to believe. I don't know.
Have a good night, Sam Chapman.
Congratulations on you, dude. Congratulations. You have nothing more.
We did it, brother. We did it.
Anthony Johnson interviewing with the TV news there. That's our local Fox 12 affiliate interviewing Anthony Johnson at last night's Measure 91 victory party. Loud atmosphere. Impossible for us to make out what Anthony's saying when he's got his back turned to us, but the atmosphere was incredibly celebratory. I wasn't able to get out there until our...
Hey, we did it, Earl. We did it, man. Dude, we did it, dude.
You did it. Dude, I can't tell you how freaking stoked I am right now.
I got out to the party after our coverage concluded at 10 p.m. and there were still people partying and having a good time. And I was speaking to one of my activist friends from the Bay Area of California who came up for this event and said it was very enjoyable. She was at the Colorado legalization in 2012 and pointed out how everybody who was on stage was, from MPP and the campaign, and they were all people who had come in from out of state to get this legalization done. And Washington State, while Allison Holcomb and Rick Steves and all those folks are Washingtonians, they're more professional level people. But in Oregon, the people standing on stage were all lifelong volunteer marijuana activists who had a large hand in this campaign, and it was good to see homegrown legalization pass in Oregon. Herb Thrasher now going into some dark place that we can't see what's going on. It was so packed. It must have been packed there around 8 o'clock. Like I said, I didn't get there till after 10, and there were still many people celebrating, enjoying themselves. And I did manage to get my picture in the Oregonians nationwide coverage with my shirt off. I have my U.S. map tattooed on my back, and I had Anthony Johnson and Peter Zuckerman, the chief petitioner and the communications director, color in Oregon with a green Sharpie to signify legalization. And that picture is now going viral across the news network, so couldn't be more excited. We turn now to Representative Earl Blumenauer, who spoke before the Measure 91 victory party last night at Holocene.
Oregon is going to approve in a non-presidential election by a wider margin than either Washington or Colorado. And the reason is you didn't back down with the message. You knew that we could do better than a failed policy of prohibition. You knew that it's not right to have racial disparities that work against people of color. You know that it's not right to have government interfering with adult decisions for something that a majority of Americans think should be legal. This message is very powerful, and I want to thank you for the hard work. It was my pleasure to work with some of our team in other parts of the state. Lots of energy, lots of focus, and let me tell you what this means. This means that the failed policy of prohibition is not just over in Oregon. You are going to help us change the national policy. The marijuana reform train has left the station. It's going to pass in California in 2016. I have to be careful or I'll be doing a Howard Dean imitation, and I don't want to do that. But I also want to tell you that what you have done with this campaign is going to help me when I go back to Washington next week. We've had some progress in hemp, and that's going to accelerate. I'm going to redouble our efforts in the lame duck session to get rid of a very pernicious 280E provision that prevents legal marijuana businesses from deducting their business expenses. It's unfair, it's going to change, and I think we may even be able to do it in the lame duck session. Our next target right away is to stop the craziness that forces legal marijuana businesses to be all cash. How stupid is that? We think with this momentum, we're going to be able to make some changes in that sooner rather than later. And we're going to, whoever the next Attorney General is, will be working with the Obama administration on a legacy issue to make this policy right. But tonight is a night of celebration. Thank you for making this possible. We look forward to carrying this across the country. Thank you so much.
Representative Earl Blumenauer speaking at the Measure 91 victory party there with Anthony Johnson, the chief petitioner who successfully got marijuana legalized. And now I can break news here that Oregon's Measure 91 legalization effort has officially topped 56% support.
I was going to say, Earl Blumenauer was a representative, a young representative in 1973 when Oregon was the first state to decriminalize marijuana. And he has been with our cause every step of the way, giving us mainstream credibility, working his butt off across the aisle. I mean, he's willing to work with Grover Norquist, of all people, to really push this issue forward. So please, another round of applause for Congressman Earl Blumenauer.
That's my representative. I get the pleasure of voting for that man every 2 years. So Earl Blumenauer there at the Measure 91 campaign party. There was so much celebration, and we got more coming up after this.
Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. New Approach Oregon is a coalition of Oregon citizens who believe that treating marijuana use as a crime has failed, costing taxpayers millions in law enforcement resources. Our approach will regulate, tax, and legalize marijuana for adults in Oregon. We can move Oregon forward and create new revenue for critical services. Visit our website at newapproachoregon.com or our page on Facebook at handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Welcome back, everyone. It is 47 after the hour, 8:47 Pacific time, and joining us on the Skype line, we have got Anthony Johnson, the chief petitioner of Measure 91, which has just been declared a winner here in the state of Oregon, becoming the third state to legalize marijuana. The studio audience is excited. Anthony Johnson, I'm sure you're excited. How are you doing?
I'm very excited, Russ. Can you hear me?
We got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very excited, very proud of everybody. This has been a long, hard fight that many activists have been put in, their blood, sweat, and tears over the years. I can't help but think about Jack Herrera, Jim Gregg, Jim Clark, who's in the hospital waiting a liver right now. And I just could not be happier or more proud of this victory.
Yeah, Measure 91 currently has been called. The numbers may change as more votes are counted. Right now, we're looking at 61.9% of the votes counted, coming down at 54-46. And Anthony, I got to brag. I called it. I said 54-46.
Yeah, you called it, Russ. A couple days ago, I was predicting a 51 to 49% victory. I thought that we didn't quite have the turnout that we wanted in our strongholds this year to really have a big margin of victory, but I thought we did enough to win it. And to have a margin of victory this big in a midterm election, I mean, it's a historic election for one, but it has shown that regulating, legalizing marijuana has moved to the mainstream, and we're only going to see more and more states move towards more freedom, more liberty in 2016 and beyond.
All right, what does this mean for the implementation? Because there was two different sections, and I never quite figured it out. One section that said this was effective 30 days after it passes. Another one that said they had until some later date before things went into effect. When am I going to be legal to have the 8 ounces in my house?
So you'll be legal to possess and cultivate at home, Russ, on July 1st. So I'm sorry about the confusion that some people are having with the text. You know, I think one of the reasons why we were able to bring mainstream support to the cause, the Oregonian, the Register Guard, the Medford Mail Tribune, the East Oregonian, you know, former Oregon State Supreme Court Justice William Riggs, you know, former police officers, former U.S. attorney, was because we did have a very deliberate, you know, careful approach. So we didn't want to, you know, scare the citizens, scare the voters, scare the state. We wanted everybody to have time to ease into this, you know, new approach. And so in a month, the state can start doing rulemaking hearings and formulating the rules for the regulated system. On July 1st, that's when it will be legal to possess cannabis in the privacy of your own home or to travel with it so long as it's out of public view. Now, it's possible the Oregon legislature could step in and pass an emergency bill and implement it sooner, but July 1st is the date.
All right, so that 30-day implementation was when the state could start working on it, and then July 1st is when it actually affects us.
Correct.
Okay, that's great news.
And then the state can start accepting applications the 1st of 2016. Start accepting applications, and you can likely see, you know, licensed and regulated sales, you know, first few months of 2016. The state could actually move it up sooner if they don't need all the time, but I would expect the state to take the full year to develop the rules and regulations.
All right, so we're speaking with Anthony Johnson, the chief petitioner of Measure 91, which has been declared victorious, making Oregon the third state to legalize marijuana for adult use, cultivation, and sales. We're also looking forward to Alaska's vote that'll be coming up a little bit later. Anthony, I'm sure you've got a ton of things to do and a ton of people to talk to, but before you go, can you give us a breakdown? What do you got there for media, local, national, and some of the superstars of the movement who might be there at the party tonight?
You know, you got longtime activists, people who've been working on this cause for a long time. We've had activists fly in from out of state. I had some of my Missouri brethren fly in to even help in the final days to knock on doors. You know, Doug Fine, best-selling author, came in to knock on doors on the final day. and basically every media outlet is here. You know, I think with the senator race and governor race not being very competitive in Oregon, we were actually the most high-profile, pun intended, most high-profile election in Oregon. So it's, you know, I think it's safe to say it's a media madhouse here, and the people are joyous, and I could not be happier and more proud of everybody that's worked in this cause, worked on this campaign, volunteered over the years. Russ, you've been a you know, beacon of reason, helping us out with talking points all over these years, and so I just could not be more proud of the work everybody's put into this cause.
Yeah, it's been a true team effort, and I think, you know, of any campaign, you know, we've seen only two so far, Washington and Colorado, but I think Oregon sets the bar for the most inclusive and the most activists involved in the drafting and the vetting and the working on this campaign. You did us all very proud, Anthony. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Russ. I really appreciate it. And let's move forward in 2016 and more states beyond.
All right. Thanks, Anthony Johnson, Chief Petitioner, Measure 91. We're going to let you go. Get back to the media madhouse, my man.
Thank you, Russ. Have a good one.
All right. We've got Earl Blumenauer going to be joining us here on our 420 radio coverage of marijuana election night. Jennifer Alexander bringing him on the line. We've got 4 for 6 on city initiatives in the state of Michigan. Colorado tax and California tax measures, a few of those have come in. But let's go now to Jennifer Alexander, who's live in Oregon at the Measure 91 campaign party, getting a guest on the line with us. And it looks as though we're speaking with Representative Earl Blumenauer. Are you on the line, sir? Can we hear you?
I am indeed. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Representative Earl Blumenauer, my U.S. representative. You must be pretty excited. You've been fighting alongside this campaign for a long time. Give us your reaction to the passage of legalization in your home state.
Well, what this means is that the marijuana reform train has left the station. If we can pass it in Oregon in a non-presidential election by a greater margin than Washington or Colorado, this is a very powerful message. We're going to be going back to Washington, D.C. to continue the work I'm doing in Congress to rationalize our laws, whether it's stopping the interference with medical marijuana, hemp, changing the tax laws so we don't penalize perfectly legal marijuana businesses, or forcing them to be all cash. This momentum is building. This election victory tonight, I first voted as a state legislator to legalize adult use 40 years ago. And I'll tell you, this election victory for me tonight is very, very sweet.
Yeah, I imagine you've got a lot of personal pride in this vote. And as you head back to Washington, I've gotten the news from CNN that it turns out that it looks like the Senate is going to be under Republican control, the House probably remaining under Republican control. Do you see us making any further progress during the last 2 years of the Obama administration on this issue, given these big wins in Oregon and Washington, D.C.?
Yes, I do. I have been working with a bipartisan group of members of Congress. We've had 5 votes on the floor of the House on reform, medical marijuana, hemp, that passed with bipartisan majorities. So I think we can work with Republicans. There are a number of Republicans that are on the right side of this. This doesn't have to be a partisan issue. I think we can get some things done, maybe even in the lame duck session before the end of the year. The tax provision is one that I want to work on. And then we've got more progress ahead for research, for medical marijuana. And this is one of the things that the Obama administration can work on as a legacy issue. They can help streamline some of this. And it's an area where we can get Republicans and Democrats to cooperate in a session of Congress that's going to be characterized by a lot of gridlock.
Yeah, and we're hoping that maybe this can be an issue, like you said, that can be bipartisan. I've always been stumped, Representative Blumenauer, on how self-described conservatives could not be on our side for this issue. It seems like the most conservative issue out there when you start to think about it. And I'm wondering, is that sentiment growing among Republicans in the Congress?
There has always been some support. I think it will grow. Overwhelming support from Democrats, growing support from Republicans. I think we're going to make some progress, and I really appreciate, Russ, your work on this, and look forward to visiting with you in person.
Oh, thank you so much. Representative Earl Blumenauer from Oregon's, it's 3rd District, correct?
It is, that's right.
Oregon's 3rd District, thank you so much, and congratulations on your re-election tonight. That's Representative Earl Blumenauer, my representative, and I was honored to be able to speak to him. Herb Thrasher deserves major kudos for using his heavy metal pit skills, as he described it, to work through the media throng and get Earl Blumenauer on our show for an exclusive interview. We spoke to Congressman Blumenauer before the national media did, and to be called out personally and thanked for my work for the congressman who's done so much to make Oregon such a welcoming place for me to be, I'm truly humbled. I'm just amazed that this is even possible. As I mentioned earlier, I can announce that with 92.9% of the vote counted, Oregon has now officially topped 56%, literally 56.02% support for our Measure 91, beating I-502's 55.7 and Amendment 64's 55.32. Take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down.